world has become so openly rebellious against God, and God himself has set the time, because in Romans 1 it says, and God gave them up. And what is the first sin that God emphasizes? In verse 24, wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lusts of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. And then it goes on to, let's read it. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. Never, never, never in the history of the world had this ever happened. And therefore, as it's saying that God gave them up, we know that it's speaking about today, because we see it. We read it in the newspapers almost every day. We know that this is happening. This Romans 1 was written for today and is indicating we're right near the end. We don't even have to know about May 21, 2011. If we didn't know anything about that, we know that we have to be within days or weeks or months or a few years, just a very few years. It's no different than when Sennacherib was mocking God in the days of Hezekiah. And what is the consequence of Sennacherib's mocking? Death. Death. What is the wages of sin? Death. What is the final outcome of the world? Death. The day of judgment is the day when all those who are unsaved will be dead. They'll come to death during that 153-day period that we know to be the day of judgment. My, oh my, are we ready for the end? And we don't have to look at the time, the date, May 21, at all, to know. And one of the signs of the time is that, as what we read in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, where it says Christ is coming as a thief in the night. Turn back to that a minute, 1 Thessalonians. This is so important, and it's so obvious that where it says in verse 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they will say peace and safety. Who are the ones saying peace and safety? Well, the whole world in a sense, but more especially those in the churches. They are insisting, oh no, Christ is coming as a thief in the night. That again here's one another sign that shows we're right at the end. Because then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. The sudden destruction, that's judgment day, when they shall say. And here we have it. We have the evolutionists and the atheists who are mocking God in that they're not. But that's been going on for a long time. Darwin wrote his piece, The Origin of the Species, which really was a big contribution toward the evolutionary theory, and that was about 150 years ago, almost exactly 150 years ago, and that gave a great boost. That's all the general preparation. But it is in our day that now it is locked in tighter and tighter. But the sign is the vile affections that go on between men and women, and the fact that there are those who are insisting Christ is coming as a thief in the night. We don't have to worry because we're fine with God. We know we're a child of God. These are all signs that show us we're right at the end. Right at the end. And then God, in His fantastic mercy, in His wonderful kindness, in His marvelous love comes to the world and tells you, look, on May 21, 2011, I'm going to destroy the world. I'm going to begin the day of judgment, and it's the end of God's salvation plan. I'm telling you this as an act of love, not an act of, not a threat. Not a threat. Yes, it is a threat for those who pay no attention. But on the other hand, if you have any concern at all, you should recognize that you, right now, today, you have 11 months and 1 week, and it's all over. And that's my mercy, that you can cry to God for mercy. And then God gives us an illustration like the book of Jonah, where they were given 40 days, and as they cried out for mercy and sat in sackcloth and ashes, completely broken before God, crawling to God on their bellies, so to speak, and God gives us the evidence in the Bible they were saved. What a tremendous God we have, that when we know that the end has to be very, very close, and then God, in His mercy, gives us the precise date, with plenty of proofs that we know for sure that it is going to happen. And for anybody then to say, well, He's coming as a thief in the night, maybe now, maybe 100 years from now, what difference does it really make? I'm ready. My, it doesn't fit together at all. God, we're living at that time. But of course, in the meanwhile, God has made life very confusing for us, because as we're learning from the Bible, particularly during these last 10 years or so, there's something new almost every day, it seems like, and we can hardly keep up with it. We've been looking, I'm going to get back to where we were last week now,